Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're back out in the garden and we're going to be planting cabbages.
Lots of them.
Lots of them. But guys, we've got about 36 cabbage plants to go in and we are racing the rain, so we're just going to cut this short and get to planting. So hang on one second, we'll get you some footage of that. Alrighty guys, we're getting ready to get started on planting these cabbages, but first we had to do some prep work. One thing, if you've noticed, we had in all of the raised boxes around here, we've had stray onions that popped up from last year when we planted from seed. So what we've done, what Tina's doing here is we've cut the tops off of all of them to stun them back a little bit. You can see they've all got pretty good roots on them. Show them the, yeah, that's pretty crazy. They've all got good roots on them, so onions are basically a weed. They won't have any trouble coming back. But a tasty weed, is that what you said?
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is we're going to plant the cabbages in the corners of these boxes, and we're just going to kind of companion plant these onions in with them. So we had a bunch of extras, and let's see, there's probably we got 9 spots to plant them. We're throwing 6 or so, 6, 8 in each one. So it's 50, 60, 70 onions we'll have just by chance, some volunteer onions that are going back in the ground. So our main onions aren't here yet. So these are just some of the ones that you see popping up in the different boxes. We've gathered them up, and we're going to go ahead and give them a shot at life so they can keep the cabbages company. But we're going to go ahead. We've went ahead and put some gypsum down at the bottom of where we intend to plant each one of the cabbages. And gypsum has sulfur in it. Sulfur helps fight back the bacteria that causes clubbing in cabbage roots. A lot of times if you see yellowing leaves or holes in your leaves, that's a result of clubbing. It's just a bacteria that lives in the ground that attaches itself to the roots of the cabbage, and it makes them swell up. They look like clubs, and not very good for the cabbage, but it has no fondness for sulfur, and gypsum has sulfur in it. So we've added some gypsum at each planting spot, and then we'll go back and fertilize towards the end. But we're going to go ahead and get set up to get planting on these cabbages. Alrighty guys, Tina's getting started on planting these cabbages. I think what we're going to do, instead of having to reach way across the beds, is we'll just plant down one side, then we'll come back and plant down the other side. But each one of these boxes has a rib, or a couple sets of ribs in them that divide them into 3. So we're going to be planting 4 plants in each one of the 3 boxes. So we'll end up with 12 plants in each one, or 36 plants overall when we get all 3 boxes done. But you can see we're using the Gaia planting method again, and we'll move down here. We'll move with Tina.
I'm slow.
You're slow? Say hi to everybody.
I'm slow, but I'm dirty.
You're slow but you're dirty, and that makes you happy?
Yeah.
But we're going to be planting Savoy cabbage this year. A lot of times you'll see us planting flat Dutch cabbage, but we're going to do something a little bit different. We want to see how they do out here. So, also, there have been a lot of people, if you haven't noticed going to the stores, there's been a lot of people buying up the plants and the seeds, which we are glad to see. We lose enough gardeners every year to frustration. That's why Tina and I kind of do what we do. We hate seeing people struggle with their gardens. So we're glad to see people back at the seed aisle and back buying plants, and yeah, going to be something they're going to need to be doing here in the future probably, but or at least the near future. But we'll go ahead and we'll get some more of these in, guys, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about growing some cabbage. Alright guys, we're going to get in close here for a minute while Tina does a couple of these. And we covered this in the broccoli, but we'll talk about it again here. We're using a method, instead of trying to top your boxes off with super soil, which takes a lot of it, and if you don't know what the super soil is, then we'll put a link to it there at the end. It's a soil mix that we use here in the raised boxes. We've made some up, and she's got some in her cart there. But what you do is, we call the method Gaia planting. Gaia is an old world word for earth, and we're using this spent soil here in the box. This was super soil that's already had plants grown in it, and instead of trying to top the whole box and renew the box, we're going to use the earth as a planting pot. We're just going to open up a hole, and that's all the purpose it'll serve. Then we'll put the plant in, and we'll put the super soil around it. That'll enrich the earth that's out around the plant, but it'll also allow the plant to start up in the good soil that we would normally use for planting anyway. So you can see she's just opening a hole and putting her plant in, and she's going to the cart for some super soil. But just a couple handfuls around the plant really help. Now, this is a technique you can use in bad soil too. If you've got real heavy clay or stony soil, if you can dig a hole big enough to stick a plant in, then you can plant it this way. You can either do it like this with some pre-started plants, or you can just put a couple of handfuls of super soil in each of the planting holes and then plant your seeds into the super soil. But it's a way that you don't have to fill the whole bed with super rich soil, or you don't have to try to top the whole bed with super rich soil. You can just dig you a hole about anywhere and just buy enough good soil to put around it. You guys can use garden soil, or I wouldn't suggest a potting mix, but garden soil would work. You know, any kind of enriched garden soil will give you a better start than having to plant in sandy soil or in rocky soil or anything like that. So guys, we call it Gaia planting. It's real easy to do. If you haven't had a whole lot of success gardening, just grab you a big old bag of garden soil and put your plants in this way, and you'll probably have better luck than planting in bad soil. So it's not ideal, but it's a way to get going when you got bad soil and you don't have anything else to do. Alrighty guys, we've jumped down here to the third box now, and Tina's going to run plants in up one side and down the other. But like I said, now you can kind of see those ribs that divide the boxes into three. You can see it at the, let's see, towards me instead of towards Tina, but she's showing it. But those kind of divide the boxes into three parts, each of them about 40 inches by 40 inches. So we're going to get 4 plants into each one, and then the onions there in the middle. You see, my onions don't look as pretty as Tina's. I put the onions in these, and Tina put the onions in the other.
I don't think the onions care.
The onions don't care?
No.
I think she did a neater job anyway. Tina loves to plant, and she loves to harvest. Which you like better?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Equally?
Equally until it comes to sweet potatoes?
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen our sweet potato harvest videos, you might want to go watch them if you want to see a giant 51-year-old kid playing a sandbox full of sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
But guys, we'll go ahead. The cabbage is a brassica. It can also take a pretty good frost. So we're going to be using these, like I said, we're planting these Savoy cabbage. They are supposed to be extra good at taking a frost. And since the weather's been kind of unpredictable here in East Tennessee this spring, we're going to go with a little bit more frost-hardy cabbage to start out with. So we won't be able to, or we won't get caught by any freak winter storms, which we usually do, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got a whole black pot collection, old plastic pots that we've gotten from the different nurseries. And if that happens, you'll see Tina out here. She'll cover all these plants up. She's got enough plastic pots to cover every plant in the garden. So,
yep.
Not a problem.
That's why you keep them.
That's why you keep them. we'll go ahead and jump around here. We'll catch her coming down the other side. Say hi to everybody. But we'll jump around here and take one last look as she throws the last of these cabbage in. Alrighty guys, we're getting ready to start coming down this other side of the bed. This will be the last of the cabbages planted until we do a fall planting. And we'll just have to kind of see how it goes. If this turns out really, really well, we may do fall planting, we may not. But we hope to have a great crop right first in the spring. And then we'll be able to use this space for other things come fall. So, you know, we just do what we can. Tina's been admiring her broccoli in the boxes behind her there.
Yeah, they look happy.
They look happy, you say? Should have plenty of broccoli. Got about the same number of broccoli. What, 36?
Yeah.
Yep. About the last thing we'll have to do is, like I said, we put gypsum down at each of the planting spots. And that'll help give sulfur in the soil and avoid clubbing in the cabbage. And then the last thing we'll do is, since we're not topping off the bed with super soil, we still need to enrich the dirt some. So we'll come back through there with some fertilizer. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But we'll get the last of these cabbages put in, and then we'll come back, we'll hit them with some fertilizer, and then we'll get this thing wrapped up. But we'll talk a little bit more about the fertilizer when she gets done here planting. Alrighty guys, we're getting ready to start fertilizing these cabbages. We're going to be using the Job's Organic. Tina's got it there, the Job's Organic tomato and vegetable. But we've got it, we tore our bag last year. So this is the rest of a bag from last year. So we've dumped it off in a bucket.
Bucket's easier to carry anyway.
The bucket's easier to carry anyway. But we're not doing a whole lot of technical measuring. Over the years, Tina has developed the handful, which is apparently the exact correct amount. So I don't argue with her, and I don't argue with the results. So we'll go down through here. Let's see. It's you want to maintain at least a 2-to-1 phosphorus to a nitrogen level. You want 2 parts phosphorus to every part nitrogen, and this fertilizer is 274. So if you remember what the numbers are, they are let's see, nitrogen is the first first set of numbers. Phosphate or phosphorus is the second set of numbers, and potash is the third. So if you can remember potash, phosphorus, and nitrogen, they are actually in the number system in alphabetical order, which is how I can remember which one's which. But we'll go on through. Tina will put a handful on each. The 274 keeps us above the 2 parts phosphorus to 1 part nitrogen, and keeps the plants happy. You don't want to grow a whole bunch of top green plants with a bunch of nitrogen and not have enough phosphorus in the soil. So guys, we'll go ahead and we're going to move down here. She's working on the other bed. We'll join her up over there. We'll talk just a second. Alrighty guys, we're down here on the last bed of cabbage. Tina has jumped way ahead of us. Slow down, Speedy. I think she's ready to get these watered in and be done with them. But alright guys, if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. I know this is kind of a quickie video. We used the Gaia planting. We kept our nitrogen to phosphorus ratio correct. They're spaced out pretty well. Onions are a good companion plant for cabbage. So we made use of some volunteer onions that came up. And guys, that's just going to have to be about it. We'll get Tina to wave at us one more time here.
My dirty hands.
With your dirty hands. But that's about going to wrap it up for the cabbage, guys. So we'll be back to wish you well here in just 1 second. Alrighty, guys. We're making sure Tina doesn't have any dirt on her nose.
I know I do.
You know you do. But guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We hope you enjoyed the video. We're glad to have all the cabbage in, I know that.
Yeah.
But if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and leave your questions or comments down below, or just say hello. We enjoy reading all of your comments and interacting with you guys that way. And if Tina likes reading comments, you can tell her what a good job she did planting cabbage. But guys, we really appreciate you coming and spending your time with us. we've got the cabbage in. We've got a few notes in there along the way, some tips and tricks. And guys, that's about going to wrap it up for the cabbage. So thank you for coming to visit us here at the channel. We hope you'll subscribe. Down next to the subscribe button is a bell. If you'll ring that bell, that'll send you notifications whenever Tina's planting more cabbage. But guys, thank you for spending your time with us. We're going to get out of here. We'll catch you in the next one.